The time is now 7 o'clock. We'll begin with our regular city council meeting. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Council Williams.
Present.
Present. Council Twiggs. Absent. Council Shea.
Present.
Present. Council Gomez. Absent. Council Walsh.
Present.
Present. Council Fenton.
Present.
Present. Council Letterman.
Present.
Present. Council Edwards.
Present.
Present. Council Ash. Here. Council Hurst. Present. Council Ryan. Here. Council Allen. Absent. Council Ramos.
Present. Would everyone please rise and join me for a moment of silence? Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilor Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have an item on the agenda tonight that we discussed last year, and when we did it, the ordinance for the tobacco, we took it out of order because we have students present who have early starts in the morning, so if we could do that again and have them be first on the agenda, I think that'd be very helpful.
If there's no objection, item number 6, Mr. Clerk.
Item number 6 is an ordinance, is the T21 policy ordinance. First step was taken on this item on December 18th, 2017.
Is there any discussion? Councilor Hurst.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to rise in full support of this ordinance. I also want to thank Helen Colton Harris, as well as Armani Harris, and then the MLK Martin Luther King Jr. Community Center for organizing these young folks to actually serve as advocates on an issue that is of significant importance. So I thank you for your due diligence. It's something that we truly need in the city of Springfield, and I'm in full support of it, and I hope my colleagues will support it as well.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Councilor Letterman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I too just wanted to rise for a moment in support of the ordinance before us, and also to commend the young people who really brought this forward to the community's attention, who came here. I had the privilege of being here for your testimony on the first round of votes. And I'll tell you, I was skeptical of the policy at first, but you convinced me with your words and with your personal experiences. I wasn't much older than most of you when I first came to testify before the council, and it's not easy as a young person to come forward to be able to speak in front of an audience like this, especially on an issue that sometimes can start to get into the media and you see a lot of comments. So I just want to commend all of you for your powerful testimony, for your strength, and I want to encourage you to continue to be involved. And thank you to Dr. Johnson of the MLK Center for providing the opportunity to these youth for this. This is the type of leadership development that we need and type of community advocates that we need to build. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am just going to echo what my colleagues said. I think it's very important that we as an elected body, when we have students who work on an issue, to take that issue seriously, and if we can support their agenda, to support it, because I think we are encouraging future leaders. Out there in the audience, there may be people who might now be inspired to get involved in politics, and we all know we want more women involved in politics. So I'm hoping that there'll be a unanimous, positive vote, and that it will spur you on to careers in government, and that this first step has been very, very positive for you. And whenever possible, I do like to support Bay State because they are such a wonderful neighbor to the city of Springfield, and in so many different areas, Bay State is a gem for the city of Springfield.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, this is on the agenda for second and third step. We took first step at our December meeting. Second and third step require 2 separate votes. All in favor of invoking Rule 222C in order to pass in one single vote, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
On ordaining the ordinance, Council Williams.
Yes.
Yes. Council Twiggs. Absent. Council Shea.
Yes.
Yes. Council Gomez. Absent. Council Walsh.
Yes.
Yes. Council Fenton. Yes, Councilor Letterman. Yes, Councilor Edwards. Yes, Councilor Ash.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Hurst.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Ryan. Yes, Councilor Allen, absent. Councilor Ramos.
Yes, more than sufficient. Ordinance passes. Item number 1, Mr. Clerk.
Item number one is a grant for the Executive Office of Housing and Economic Development. This grant is for $3.5 million.
Good evening, Brian Connors, Economic Development Office, 274 Springfield Street in Springfield. This item is to accept a grant of $3.5 million for the refurbishment of Pynchon Park. I'm sure all of you know Pynchon Park has long been shuttered. It's right behind Mass Mutual Center and connects up to the Springfield Museum quadrangle. Economic Development doesn't often get involved in parks projects, but we felt like this was an economic development project because of our growing tourism industry. So it's important for us to see our cultural center up at the quadrangle connected with our downtown and hotels and things like that for people who want to get up to the Dr. Seuss Museum. So a very competitive grant process. We're very happy to have received the funding that we received and to get this park reopened again.
Good idea.
Any questions or comments from the council? Councilor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a quick question. Is the city matching any funds for this 3.5?
We're not required to match under this grant. We did commit to fund design.
Okay. Thank you.
Councilor Shea.
Yeah, maybe I could ask, I know we've had this park and plaza developed before with the elevators and everything, and it always got destroyed, vandalized, and a lot of money really wasted. So in going forward on this, is there some more concrete plan in place to see that we don't, again, put several $1 million out and just have it totally vandalized and become a useless site again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you outline any of that for us?
Sure, that's a great question. So when the park opened in the 70s, almost immediately things like that happened. So what's different about today? For one, the city and the city council committed to a downtown police substation at the foot of Pynchon Park. So that is, we'll actually have windows on the park 24/7. Today, we now have a business improvement district. They've committed to not only policing, but helping us care for the park. The museums, along with Related is the new owners of Chestnut Park Towers. They're doing a significant overhaul. They've also committed to assisting with that maintenance. So we've built a partnership and a coalition to ensure we've seen the mistakes, we've seen the pictures, we've lived this to ensure that doesn't happen again.
It seems from what you've outlined that it will be a pretty secure investment and it'll maintain what we're attempting to have it done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Seeing none, all in favor of accepting the grant say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Item number 2 is the FY18 Shannon CSI grant in the amount of $595,000.
Good evening, council members. I'm here today respectfully to hope you guys approve the request of $595,000 for the Shannon Community Safety Initiative. All of you should have received really a brief snapshot of what we've done over this past year, 2007, as well as what the proposed agencies for 2008 plan on doing, as well as the levels and the amounts of funding for each agency.
Can you state your name for the record?
Yes, John Lewis. I'm the Springfield Police Department Grants Administrator, as well as the Shannon Grant Coordinator for the city.
Thank you. Councilor Hurst.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know previously you've allotted funding for open gyms and after-school programs. Is this currently in your plans for this year?
Yes, absolutely. So we've actually brought the Parks Department back specifically for that. So they'll be at Harena, and they'll have Opens Gym as well as some of the other agencies as a part of it.
Okay, and can you tell me whether it's an increase from last year, or is it the same?
Absolutely. Great question. So we actually, across the state, Shannon dollars were level funded. Our city actually received an increase based on our application and our plan to do more employment opportunities for youth. So as some of the MLK youth that you just left from the tobacco are some of those same youth that are now funded. So from last year, 30% of the youth we served received employment opportunities through Shannon dollars through the various agencies.
Thank you.
Councilor Ash.
John, is the agencies that are going to benefit from these funds, have they already been determined?
Yes.
Is there a list of those that?
Yes, it should be there in front of you on the second page. It's a list of each agency, what they propose to do, as well as their funding levels. Should be on the second page there. And then on the back of the funding is also a snapshot of our 2017 data.
I'm just trying to determine if the YMCA is, otherwise I'll have.
Yes, they are.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
Mr. President, I'll have to abstain from this.
Mr. Clerk will make a note. Councilor Ryan.
Yes.
So the full amount is 595, and that's an increase over last year?
Yes, so it's an increase of just over 39,000 from what we received last year.
And the agencies are essentially level funded since it's up?
Right. Some actually received a slight decrease because we actually added 2 additional community agencies. So we added the Springfield Boys and Girls Club Family Center on Acorn Street, as well as the Parks Department.
And the Springfield Police Department funding is also level funded?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Then you've got a site coordinator. What
Yeah.
is that?
That's me. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah, no problem.
And obviously that's just a portion.
Thank you.
Councilor Williams.
Thank you, Mr. President. John, I want to commend you on being the administrator for this program again. I know when I was the grant writer for the YWCA, I know how competitive this program is. But I also want to ask, this year in particular, we have, in terms of regulating recreational marijuana coming up in our pipeline. And I was just wondering for the fiscal years that follow this one in particular, are there any, is that going to be a priority focus for future applications?
Yeah, I think that's one of the issues that our partners we've talked about. We have monthly meetings every month, and on the state level, it's also obviously a concern.
Right.
So I know we have agencies like MLK where certain things that they do, we want to duplicate at our other agencies. So we're doing a lot more sharing, which is why you see the funding levels are becoming more equal. And we're really, I can say this past year was really a great year for us to kind of replicate what other agencies are doing well.
Right.
And then putting those out to other agencies. But absolutely, the marijuana is going to be a huge issue, not only for the community agencies, but on the law enforcement side as well.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none. Councilor Lellerman.
Mr. Willis, just quickly, could you tell me how, if at all, but I think it does, this grant enables us to work collaboratively with social service agencies in terms of, do we provide any direct service as a result of this or intervention programs, things like that?
Yeah. So Shannon, it focuses on 3 areas, prevention, intervention, and suppression. The suppression services are solely the police department. But as far as the intervention and things like that, we work with the court department, particularly with juveniles. So we have certain referral systems where we can send them either to an agency that's better in their community. But we also this year, we've really looked at mental health and kind of prioritize that as well as some of the other things. So we've asked BHN, they're a partner, but a non-funded partner, to help us really with our trauma-informed care and some other issues that youth are dealing with. So we've actually looked at that, and we've included that for our application this year.
Thank you very much, and I'd love to set up a time to come talk with you a little bit more about
Absolutely.
the BHN program.
Definitely.
All right, if there are no other questions, all in favor of accepting the grant, say aye. Councilor Ryan.
My office does a little work for the YWCA, so with respect to that portion of the grant, I'd ask that I be recorded as abstaining, but can I vote on the rest, Mr. Clerk?
Mr. Clerk?
A legal question, but if you're abstaining from the entire vote. There's one vote to accept the grant.
We still have eight votes. All right, all in favor of accepting the grant, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Please
Thank you.
mark Counselor Ash and Counselor Ryan abstained. Items 3 through 5, Mr. Clerk.
Item 3 is the second vet assistant grant in the amount of $12,504.96. Item number 4 is the FY18 fire safe grant in the amount of $1,500.
Item number 5.
Excuse me. Item number 5 is the Springfield City Library donation in the amount of $400.
All in favor of accepting the grant, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 7, Mr. Clerk.
Item number 7 is the TIF notification ordinance amendment. This was sponsored by Councilor Allen, and it was laid on the table at the last City Council meeting in December 2017.
Councilor Fenton.
Thank you, Mr. President. I communicated earlier this evening with Councilor Allen. He has just returned from Ireland and is en route to this meeting here this evening. Unfortunately, he's still on the Mass Pike and has yet to make it here for this proposal. I'm prepared to speak briefly on the matter, but because it is his recommendation and his proposal here, in the interest of time, I would just ask that we table this matter until the next meeting when he's able to join us. So I'll do that in the form of a motion, Mr. President.
Motion made by Councilor Fenton, seconded by Councilor Edwards. All in favor of tabling the matter, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Last item, Mr. Clerk.
The last item on tonight's agenda is a zoning ordinance. This is a temporary moratorium on the establishment of marijuana dispensaries. This item is on for first reading and referral to the planning board. There is no action required.
No action required. Is there any further business before the council?
I have no further business for the council.
No further business. Our next meeting is January 22nd. Meeting adjourned.